for its latest release. Oh,
We're
live. Welcome to the Crafty Buzz. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry? Do what? Do what?
That one.
Do who? That one. Which one? That one? That one. Welcome to the Crafty Boys. We drink beer and talk about bullshit. So, welcome. Locke is going to tell us about his beer tonight. What are you drinking?
All right. So, I did a dry July where I wasn't drinking any alcohol at all. And then last episode, I thought, yeah, let's just take a nice deep dive. And so I did something that was like an 8%er. Now I am back onto not so much the low alcohol, but the low calories, because I've got to say, dropping a few pounds over that dry July made me think, I look a little better that way. So this is a 90-calorie IPA that I haven't tried yet, but it is from one of my go-tos when I'm looking for both kitchen and brewery in Bracebridge. Lake of Bays Brewing. This is Low Tide, and it comes in at 2.5%. This is somewhere between near beer and beer. So let's go.
That is so bizarre. Oh, and by the way, cheers from Nelson Island. Welcome to the show, Mr. Price.
Woo-hoo.
I think it's your first time here, right?
Something like that.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. So sorry, Locke, what was the alcohol content on that?
2.5%. Yes, you heard me say that. And I have to say, going forward, if I'm going to be drinking less on the basis of, holy shit, I'm getting old, this is, I think I would rather have this than go all the way to no alcohol beer. This is flavorful. It does all the things, in terms of wanting a beer. It's refreshing, and it's got that, a little bit of that, let's say, reality lubricant that is alcohol.
Okay.
It's a nice middle of the road.
Yeah. The flavor is bitter enough that it could accompany food well.
Okay.
And it's dry, and it's a little on the, I'd say it's a good balance between a sort of a piney and a citrusy hop. But it's definitely, you can see how they get away with calling it an IPA. It's got that flavor profile. It's a little bit like, though, and this is a dig at Lake of Bays Kitchen here, their chicken parmesan sandwich, which features, as far as the kitchen has informed me, no parmesan whatsoever, unless you order a Caesar salad with it. It's got cheese and chicken and sauce and all of the stuff that goes with that flavor profile, but it's their interpretation of what it tastes like. It doesn't actually have parmesan on it, so this isn't really an IPA, but captures the flavor profile. And if I'm looking for a compromise on drinking less, yeah, this is fucking great.
Nice.
Cool.
So, Alan.
Yep.
What are you doing?
All right. So I'm having, this is from Hoyne in Victoria. Something new from them. I've never tried it before. It is their Por Favor Mexican-style lager.
Okay.
It says it's made with corn, rice, and barley. I assume water fits into there somewhere. And they're saying to enjoy it with lime. I don't have a lime, and I don't like being told what to do, so I'm not going to do that. So no lime for me. But this is what it looks like in the glass. Really clear. I mean, this is really clear.
Yeah.
Not much of a head.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I
I can see the other side where the thumbprint is visible.
Oh yeah, I mean you could take my thumbprint right now. If you want.
Yeah, that is
really nice. The head, the little head that's there is staying, which is nice. Smells like a Corona, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Tastes like a Corona. It's just it just doesn't have that sort of like mass produced kind of. I don't know if I can really put my finger on it, but like if you have a Corona or something like that, it's got this sort of like a mass produced kind of taste to it, like an aftertaste. This doesn't have that. This is a little bit cleaner. I really like it. It comes in at 4.4% and is available in 473 ml tall cans. And there isn't really much else about it on here, so that's it. A really good beer. If you're into cervezas,
Shut up, Julian.
what is he talking about? The Por Favor or Corona?
All of the above, most likely.
yeah.
You know what Julian is? Julian's like our Statler and Waldorf from the Muppet Show.
It's like he's almost out of beer. Okay, well, let's find out. So, what do I have? Oh man, okay. I actually have the most. Sorry, what's the alcohol by volume on yours, Alan?
4.4.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna win the alcohol by volume today, because I'm drinking the Back in Blackberry Sour.
Ooh.
It is a sour beer. I don't know. I gotta read it here. It is 4.5% alcohol by volume. It is from Black Kettle Brewing, which is a brewery in the north part of the Vancouver area, as in North Van. And their motto is, "We're here just for the beer." For the first time in 12 years, the Just Here for the Beer collab will be a delicious sour brew starting... this is a collab? Limited edition anniversary beer, Black Kettle Brewing. Who you're collabing with? It starts juicy and tart like a ripe blackberry and then surprises with a squeeze of blood orange at the finish. I'm trying to find where they're talking about a collab. Does not say anything. No, whatever. Or collabo? Maybe that's a... Whatever.
But let's face
Anyway.
it. What made you buy this beer?
Oh, yeah. So basically, I mean, the only reason I bought the beer was because it would make my camera go fuzzy. That was the big trick. Hey, camera, what's going on?
Technology.
That's it.
That beer works.
So yes, of course, the Back in Blackberry. I mean, it's an homage to, of course, the AC/DC record Back in Black from back in 1980. So, thin, hard, gutless stuff with anything less than 5% is what, Julian? Just continue your thought. So I'm going to pour this out. I don't smell anything yet. All right. Yep, that is a sour. It looks pretty blackberry-esque color-wise. It's actually a deeper color on camera. But it's definitely, you can't see through it, so let's give it a whirl. Smells like a sour. No notes of fruit yet. Let's see. Holy effervescence. I need to go in again. Hang on. It's a blackberry with definitely
Are you
a
glad
citrus.
to be back?
I'm glad to be back. I like it. It's all Bud Light. So anything less than 5% alcohol by volume is Bud Light. Well, that's okay, Julian, because you know what? Take that! Sick 'em! Get Julian! This podcast is brought to you by Bud Light and Putin and Crafty Land and Christmas time. All right, so yeah, okay. I think it's okay. It's not. I mean, I'm kind of over sours because sours were a big thing 5 years ago, but I don't mind one once in a while. They're all right, but they're not my favorite beer. So
Does it have
Okay.
that sort of like the sort of the oils that you get with blackberry, like that sort of estery, oily blackberryness?
No, not really.
Is any of that in there?
It's
No,
overpowered by
it's
this.
sour. Yeah,
It's overpowered
it's
by
like
the
when
sourness.
you get one that isn't ripe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which they claim is their claim to fame. But overall, it starts off kind of like a blackberry, ends off with some, I guess they said blood orange. So there's definitely it gets overpowered. I mean, it's not, it's not the flavor doesn't stick around.
That's my
Okay,
problem.
what is
with
June?
sours. Just, I don't know. It's just the whole sourness. So Julian, I had a fat tug last night. I have fat tugs regularly, but we've done fat tug on the podcast before. We don't want to do it every week.
I'm waiting for color and shape. But he hasn't said it, so I guess color and shape sucks now. You were saying?
Color shape is great. I love that. Red Racer IPA, which he also mentioned. That one's not. I'm not big on that one. Yeah, it just doesn't turn my crank. Widowmaker. I want to know about that. What is that? Julian,
I believe Widowmaker. Let's take a look there.
Okay.
I know that Widowmaker is a local. I just do not remember who makes it. Is it Backcountry? Maybe Backcountry.
No.
I'm pretty sure Widowmaker
makes everything after a movie.
No, well, their usual stuff here. Let me find the. Yeah, here we go. So this is Widowmaker.
Oh, it is Backcountry. Okay.
Right here, yeah. I know that I've had this before. It's been a long time though. I think we've done this on the show.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure. But I don't.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to see if I can find it. If I remember, and if I find it, then I will do it in an upcoming show.
All right, we could do that. I'm sure we could all find it.
Yeah.
Locke, how's your day? How's your week? What have you been up to? Wow,
It's been a bit of a week.
Okay, Shane, how was your
week? My week was fabulous. So basically, your week sucked. Is that what you're saying, Locke?
What I'm saying is, in the last 4 hours, I lost
4 hours.
Lost the cap on my tooth. That's recent history. Yeah. I don't. No. I didn't lose it that way. It's in my pocket right now. It's fine, but it's no longer on my tooth, which is a bitch. And so now I really have to get this thing fixed. Um, so it's not pleasant. So that's why I'm in a bit of a mood just now. Now that said, earlier in the week it was also a lot of cut and thrust at work. A lot of lost sleep on the basis of just stuff. It's been an exhausting week. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Alan, has your week been as cut and thrust as you'd like it to be?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Get up, go to work, do some shit at work, leave, come home, do second job, go to bed. That's about it.
Julian wants to know if you've lost weight, Locke.
Yes, I've lost weight. That's what stopping drinking for a month will help you do, Julian.
What? I don't believe it.
Let me shock
you were saying, Alan.
But one thing that did come out this week, and this affects us. That's about it. The Great Canadian Beer Fest released a sneak peek of their brewery lineup for this year.
Okay, tell me more.
There's going to be something about 85-ish breweries. There's going to be a bunch from across the country that are going to be there. They didn't list specific beers, but they listed what breweries would be there.
Okay. Sneak peek beer list. Okay. Blood Brothers, Rock, Fairweather, Nichols. Look at this. Oh, wow. Still no sand. What's it called? What's the one that you go to regularly, Locke? I want to call it Sandpaper, but that's not it. Sawdust.
You're thinking of Sawdust City. Yeah, I was actually there earlier this evening. Good band, actually.
Nice. Yeah. Maridale will be there, of course. Vinegar's, Aerosmith.
Oh, yeah.
It is Aerosmith.
Yeah. Nice.
Faculty Brewing. I was just there a week or so ago. Brew Hall. I've been there several times this year. Steamworks. I've actually been to once this year, so that's quite good. Old Yale. Cider Co. Oh, is that a new one? That looks like a new one to me. Beacon?
Where?
Beacon Brewing?
I've never heard of them.
No,
I've never heard of.
Would that be a Beacon Hill kind of way?
Actually, I have heard of a brewery near Beacon Hill Park recently.
Really?
I don't know who told me that. Somebody from Victoria, obviously, but I don't know who that was. Souk Brewing, Tofino, Harold Sweet, Cow Dog. Is that new? So
I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of locality either. So anyway, I'm glad we've got a bit of a sneak peek. I am down with that. I am happy. So Alan and I, of course, will be going because we have to. It's the rules.
It's a federal law. I mean,
I agree. I mean,
I don't make it up.
You can't not go.
It is absolutely. That is absolutely provincial law, but it's a section or 91, 92 thing. But anyway, it's fine.
Right. So if you don't
it's a provincial matter that you exercise your beer drinking.
Right.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Are you going to?
That is why, of course, the provinces don't have a uniform free trade agreement between them, despite federal Canada. Right? That's why. Yeah.
So are you basically saying that there is at some level?
There is a constitutional reason why all the provinces have their own alcohol laws.
But I'm just going to say that I think that I sense that there is something that you want to say about how the federal government should really take this on and make it so that we all must drink alcohol or drink beer at least? Is this is something that you think that we could get through if we should vote it through?
No.
Add it to the charter, maybe.
I don't think you can do it at a federal level. I think I think that is fundamentally. Think about this. So before Trudeau tried to introduce a statement making housing a human right, he wasn't to blame for the housing crisis. Afterwards, he is. Why did he do that? You got to wonder what possesses somebody to. That's not my job. Somebody else is responsible for it. It's ultra vires to any of my powers. So if something goes wrong, I can do nothing about it. I know. Let's legislate a bold statement about how it's all my fault. You know what I mean? What was the point of that maneuver? I've seen people talk about the crazy shit that Trump does, but my God, well-meaning, sure. I bet that it was, but fuck's sake.
So you're saying that beer laws in Canada are somehow connected to
provincial issues.
Okay.
They're not as how the Constitution of Canada works. They're not federal issues.
So beer is not a federal issue.
But when I say that they're not federal issues, I mean both. They're not the federal government's responsibility, but also the federal government, if they tried to do something about it, they would be in breach of Canadian constitutional law and would get in trouble for it. Back when the JCPC used to police that, they used to get in trouble for it all the time. Now we're supposed to police it internally, and they still get in trouble for it. Perhaps worse because now there's social media.
There's a lot to unpack there. So if the taxation, the rules surrounding alcohol.
I didn't read. Sorry, you've got yellow on white. I didn't read whatever he wrote. What did Julian say?
Julian says that alcohol is a provincial responsibility, and the provinces definitely agree on the taxing of alcohol.
Yeah, well, there is broad consensus on the taxation should be considerable. So
basically, you're
in Alberta. There's this imagine. So here's where it gets funky, is because the taxation is really ultimately on the sale of the product wholesale in Alberta or at the store in Ontario. And does it make a huge difference which way it happens? I don't know that it really does. But politically, people get really impassioned about it.
Oh, totally. So, are you saying then that...
I'm saying that the price of alcohol is inflated everywhere in Canada as compared to the rest of the world. If you're trying to buy alcohol in the States, it's fucking dirt cheap. If you're trying to buy alcohol in Istanbul, it's fucking dirt cheap. And you can buy it at 4 a.m. at a convenience store. In Canada, you can only buy it at certain hours, and it's triple, 4 times, 5 times what you would spend anywhere else in the world because it's taxed very heavily.
Right.
But whether that taxation happens at the distribution level or at the store depends on whether or not you've got a statutory monopoly of stores, as there were 2 traditionally in Ontario, and then a third unofficial sort of bootlegging kind of thing that. Anyway, So just sorry to interrupt.
So basically, you disagree with the idea that we should change the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms to not include a clause to state that Canadians are required to drink beer.
Oh no! I'm questioning the mechanics.
The mechanics of well, I guess changing the charter. Well, I'm sure that we could. If we all put our heads together, anything is possible.
Okay, so I think there's a charter case that says that the Rastafarians couldn't use religion as a reason to smoke weed in Canada. I can't remember, or maybe that was just the States. I don't remember. I'd have to look at it again. But I think it came up at some point. There were, they've got these various tests on, charter rights, because sometimes charter rights inflict on each other, right? So there's the religious rights. Yeah. So say the right to drink alcohol. Like I think a Franciscan monk, they might reasonably be able to make a case for it's my religious duty to drink beer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Are we all not sort of a little bit sympathetic to the Franciscan point of view of living a simple life where we brew and drink beer?
Sure.
Yeah. It's my religious belief. So as my religious right under the charter, that has to go head to head with, does the state have the right to control, my production and drinking of alcohol? And of course, in Canada, I think we're allowed to home brew. And so if we wanted to so do, we could do. And I think we often do.
So then it becomes more of a...
That's where brewing beer sounds to me like a charter issue. But I mean, that's me as a consumer of legal services, not somebody who's an expert in it or anything.
So,
which I'm not yet.
There's a question in the chat that says, how much does a cheap bottle of white Zinfandel wine cost in Canada? And my response is probably at least $8,000. What do you guys think?
Well, sorry, white Zinfandel?
Yeah. I'm actually going to look this up.
I'm pretty sure I've never had a white Zinfandel. I've had red ones, but I didn't know there were white ones. I have no idea.
Is that a question in our chat or?
Sorry, it's in our partner chat, D-Dial.
Oh, okay.
As I have been posting the link to our show in the D-Dial thing every time we're here. Sorry, I just noticed that there's Doug Ford wanted to have buck beers. Yeah, well, no one cared, and that never happened.
Yeah.
So, I'm actually going to look up white Zinfandel. I actually don't know, so give me a moment.
I would think not expensive. Like white Zinfandel is kind of like work a day, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not a wine drinker.
There's part.
Yeah. Okay. Julian says $10 for white Zin.
$10?
That's what he says.
Now, is that for the cheapest stuff?
That's probably for the cheapest stuff.
All right, so $10 is right in line with the $6 to $7 US that's been suggested. So, why? I don't know. Why do I suspect that wine and beer are priced very differently? Is this just my sort of? I've never really thought about it, to be honest. But
look, let's be clear. Wine and wine are priced very differently. So there's that.
Well, that's kind of what I mean. Like, there's the. I was talking to somebody the other day about they were explaining to me how pay for play Dungeons and Dragons has become a thing. So apparently, so let me back up a moment. So we were discussing D&D, and I was saying, I've been playing with a group for off and on for about 6 years, and we all get along. It's a great bunch of people. And they're like, oh, really? Well, you must be fucking old. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? So apparently I am of a generation now that expects things like Dungeons and Dragons to be a free activity. You go, you hang out with people, you bring snacks, you entertain each other, have a good time, and then you go home.
That's what I'm.
But apparently, exactly. But apparently there's this thing now where people are wanting to go to a game and pay money and have their expectations met. That there's expectations that are not just you're going there to hang out with a bunch of cool people and play a game. It's higher than that. There's this. It needs to be a safe space. It needs to be. Everyone has to get together beforehand and discuss what the rules are of engagement with other human beings before you ever play the game. And I'm like, I beg your what? And then they said, oh yeah, well, I pay for that. And I'm like, fucking what? So yeah, apparently there's this thing where they want people, they are now younger players. And I'm not talking about a lot younger. I'm just saying people that are, say, 10 years younger and whatnot are very heavy into, or very interested in this whole idea. And sorry, I just got to bring this up here. And Julian's right. If you get a wine kit, you can brew it yourself at home for a much, much cheaper price. So anyway, so what do you guys think of that? Like, there is some nuance. There's a little more explanation in it, but essentially, it's now a reasonable expectation for people to expect to play. Now, and I'm not saying that they're paying to. Sometimes it's a fee for somebody who's, I don't know, a professional dungeon master who does it as a career, as their job. That makes sense to me. There's tons of them out there, always have been, but there's now this thing where we have virtual platforms and we have people having to drive at distance and that kind of stuff, and table fees at game stores. I'm like, table fees? What are you talking about? You can't just, like, every game store I've ever played at, it's just been like, hey, we got some tables in the back. Go ahead, play. There's also some books. Take some books down. If you don't have that book, you can borrow it. You know, like that kind of community building where the whole gateway for payment kind of stops the community from building, in my thinking. I guess Locke is just enraged about this, so he left.
So,
but yeah, so I don't know, Alan. What do you think?
Well, so my only experience with D&D, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience, but my only experience was with you, Shane.
Yeah.
Many years ago, we went to, I can't remember what their names were. We went to some guy's house who was married to some chick, and their sister was there or something. And anyway, it was my first experience playing D&D. I was bored out of my skull. And I said I would never, ever, ever play D&D ever again. So I've never played it ever again. Really turned me off. Not that I was all that interested in it to begin with, but then, and really that put a whole sour note on the whole Lord of the Rings movies when they came out. I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking D&D. I don't want to watch this. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
This is from the chat again. I think things started going south once they started giving everyone a trophy. So true. So true. Because you don't want to cause children micro traumas, as in their team didn't win and they didn't get a trophy. I don't know, Alan?
More than that, the school system doesn't fail kids.
Sorry, what?
The public school system does not fail kids anymore, especially like in elementary school levels. So like when I was in grade
well,
one,
it's not the metric that their pay is based on, is it?
Well, I don't know. But
yes, it should.
That
should be on a t-shirt.
When I was a kid in grade one, 2 of my classmates failed and had to repeat grade 1. That would never happen today, ever. Like those teachers would go.
It's a good point.
Work really, really hard to get that kid to just barely pass.
Now, how old are kids when they're in grade 1? So you're talking like 7. Is that right? 6, 7, somewhere there? So
But I mean, it's not just grade 1. I mean, this is going all the way through.
Well, because I don't know. Okay. Now here's where my brain kind of goes in that sort of respect is if you're in grade 1, failing doesn't really help. I don't think. Grade 5 maybe, but again, I don't know. I'm trying to think it back to. I mean, I was in grade 1 in 1979, so it was a while ago. And I barely remember it. I remember going to Disneyland.
It sort of depends on how they treat it. If it's at a young enough age and failing means, oh, you didn't learn that right, here's how you do that. That's the kind of guidance that a kid can use. But in a classroom of 50, that's not the guidance they're going to get. So failing them at that age is just trauma.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's actually a very good point.
And then, yeah,
about class size.
Failing them later makes more sense because then they're supposed to have enough adult skills that can at least extrapolate what just happened to them, right?
Yeah, because I mean, it's always that thing where, in popular culture, like the whole grade failure thing is in high school. Oh my God, I can't fail. I got to graduate and go to college.
While I get all that, there's too much passing that's going on. There's too many kids who don't understand the content.
But they don't need to understand. Artificial intelligence.
They just want to move them through. They got move them through the factory.
Well, yeah. Actually, that's actually 2 good points. Locke thing. AI is going to take care of it. It'll be fine. You don't need to learn to write anymore. And Alan's like, but you're just going to be pushing buttons in a factory where you don't have to worry about much because what is that? What was that movie?
There
Wall-E?
is no more horizon. You're just.
And we'll just eventually all wake up and realize we're batteries for a large computer system. But yeah. Wait, where are you buying a 6? Okay, never mind. But yeah, I was failed at an early age and nothing changed. That's kind of what I mean. Like you will have children of that age who don't quite get what school is yet, and they don't quite know that they're supposed to know anything, and they learn a few rudimentary skills, and then you push them to grade 2, and eventually they start to learn about consequences and things of that nature, and things that they should learn, and then they don't, or that's when they start to realize, oh crap, you're right, I need to work mentally a little harder. I need to learn that skill or that thing.
Crack in an alley somewhere.
Gonna be living in a van down by the river. But yeah, it's something that I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's as you were saying. It's like a slap in the face to a kid who doesn't quite understand what exactly occurred. And that to me is a bit weird, but I agree. By the time, grade 3, 4, or somewhere in there, they should really be understanding that they will not continue to grade X until they've learned.
Do you guys remember when you were in high school in English class and you had to, like, whatever book the class was reading, and the teacher wanted you to read part of it aloud for a little bit. So, you read part of it, and then it goes to the next kid in the class who has to read part of it, and they're going like, the store was closed. And you're like, really? I'm going to graduate with the same credentials as this guy? Seriously?
Oh, look, the high school I went to didn't have nearly that type of methodology. What we did was the teacher said, okay, everybody sit wherever you want in the room and do private reading time. And so I sat in the back with my friends and we made a campfire.
We are the worst students ever.
No, but listen, it pissed me off that it kind of made me feel like high school was a joke.
Well, it was sort
It
of.
was a joke.
Not a good one, not a funny one,
No.
but yeah, I mean,
in fact, so much of a joke that I didn't even really feel like going to my high school graduation, and I didn't go.
I had the same experience.
Now I'll give my high school more than that. The high school that I went to, admittedly, was a sort of a best case scenario in that it was sort of picturesquely John Hughes-esque.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it was where Pretty in Pink would have been filmed, kind of thing.
Right.
And admittedly, while I played that game, I played it very well. I learned in grade 10 that if you are prone to nosebleeds, you only need to have 2 at the beginning of the year, and then anytime you're sick of class, you just go and run out of the room and go for coffee. And if you're downtown, there are a lot of opportunities to do that, so it's a rich environment. Yeah, no, like I had a good time in high school. That said, that doesn't mean that I think that the institution was compared to what it is today, it was a healthy one. I shouldn't complain when I look at what kids go through now.
Yeah. But is it really all that different today?
I'm under the impression that there are more rules. People get ostracized not just as easily, but more easily, and the ganging up happens faster because it's digital. I'm under the impression that the guns are more prevalent.
Oh, okay. Well,
actually,
just to give some context, when I was in high school,
from everything I hear, their lightweights compared to our generation in terms of the drugs they do. But
oh yeah,
like I think part of it is as with certain other extended like I think our generation scared them straight a little bit, but.
I almost wish that we had a time machine so I could take my kids back in time.
That or they're just sick. That or they're just sick of their, yeah,
and show them what high school was like in my time, because I have a feeling they'd be like scared shitless.
Well, like, so what's the high school did you go to? Like, you were both on the island for high school. I was in Calgary. What was it like on the island? Like, because look, I remember junior. Fucking thing. It was for me that was on the island, but.
Well, I went to a high school that was a junior high and a high school all in one. It went from grade 8 to 12, and it was fairly small for as many grades as it was. I think it only had, I want to say, 500 students. It was pretty rough. Our school was too small to have a chess club or an AV club or anything like that. There was just a lot of kids that went out to the smoke pit. And that was about it. There really wasn't anything to do at my high school. A Tim Hortons opened across the street when I was like in grade 10, I think. So I mean, that was kind of cool. But other than that, there was nothing to do around where my high school was. It was just a collection of, your typical kind of thing, like the Breakfast Club. I don't want to go to John Hughes again, but the Breakfast Club, where you got your dweebs, you got your spazoids, you got your jocks, you got your greasers or headbangers, as we called them back then. You got your pretty girls, and it was an interesting time, and not one that I would ever want to relive.
No, I definitely would not want to relive that time of my life because I talk to people from time to time. You run into friends who have children of that age, and you're just like, what a fucking idiot. But it's kind of like that thing where it's like, yeah, they turned 60 and had a midlife crisis, and then they got a new girlfriend that was 30 years younger than them, and I'm like, what? What? That? Well, they look pretty. Yeah, but I'm sorry, my standards are higher. But I gotta say that I lost my train of thought.
It happens at our age.
I know, fucking totally. I had a thought and it's gone.
Give me my prune bush. Put on Matlock.
But the fuck it. That's, oh, hey, what's in here? Oh, beer. But aside from not wanting to go back and relive that part of my life, I mean, I think that here is a big problem, is that I think now we've achieved that age where juvenoia is actually becoming a reality, where juvenoia being the fear and anger towards younger generations, which is a relatively new definition. Like it was coined, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. Anyway, not important. But basically, we have achieved the age now where we want to scream at kids to get off our lawn.
Yes.
I fear for your generation. Like, get the fuck off my lawn. That kind of thing.
I fear for that generation. I fear for us because that generation is going to be the leaders. So, case in point, there's a Tim Hortons fairly close to where I work, and we were going over there for coffee one day, and these kids from the nearby high school came over. Oh my god, it's such a shit show when it's time for their recess or whatever it is, and they're coming over to Tim Hortons and Starbucks to get their drinks. My god. But anyway, so we get in line at the Tim Hortons. There's a couple of girls in front of us from the high school, and we're like, okay, cool, we're second in line, awesome. Then all of a sudden, all these high school boys come in, and they go up to the girls, and the girls are like, oh yeah, we saved you a spot, and they all budge into line, and everybody in the line is giving them an earful about it. Anyway, so we were all telling them about, how parents would be ashamed of them and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, one of the girls...
Sorry, was this the Prune Mush line?
No, those are the Tim Hortons line. Yeah. But anyway, one of the girls was wearing a jacket with a Metallica Kill 'Em All album cover on the back. And I so wanted to ask. I didn't ask. But I so wanted to ask that girl, so what's your favorite track from that album? Because I bet you she would have been able to name a single one. I bet you she would have said like Enter Sandman or something. Poser.
Yeah, Enter Sandman is such a
back
choice
up a minute, Alan.
Okay.
Look, hold the fuck on a minute. You're objecting
shit.
to the fact that the younger generation are wearing Metallica back patches.
I'll be right back.
I'm not objecting to that. Shit, that's fucking wonderful. That's good news, not bad. Music feels. It will.
I think we're losing Locke.
I went to give beer to the
just grinning or frozen.
So, Locke was on the show.
I'm not objecting to Metallica gear. What I'm objecting to is young people wearing gear, not knowing what it's about. And I mean, maybe she did. Maybe she. It's a possibility that she knew every single track from Kill 'Em All, and that's fine. I would have said great. But I have a feeling she probably never ever listened to Kill 'Em All. Which, by the way, is, in my opinion, Metallica's second best album.
What was your favorite album?
Ride the Lightning.
Really? It would be like number. Yeah.
And Master
to be honest,
Puppets
I'll have to listen to them. Well, Master of Puppets, yeah.
For
But
most people, Master of Puppets would be first.
well, that's kind of what I was thinking. But now that you've said Ride the Lightning, I'm kind of like, maybe I need to just listen to them again.
Were you ever? Were you?
By the way, this is in the chat when you were deciding.
Oh.
All of it.
Totally Ride the Lightning. I love that album. It's great. It's a little bit underrated, actually. Sorry, Locke, I missed what you were saying before.
Yeah, you were frozen, and
So did I.
we couldn't hear you. Well, for the last 5 minutes, maybe.
Yeah. What was I saying? What was I talking about?
You were ranting about Metallica, I think, but we couldn't hear you. So
yeah. Well, as I was telling somebody earlier this evening, I was sort of always more of a Cliff Burton fan than a Metallica fan per se, but
back in the day, I was a huge Metallica fan. Even I really liked And Justice for All as well, although I thought they kind of sold out at that point.
There have actually been shows where that you could go back into our back catalog and you can watch us all get steadily drunker and drunker, and eventually we make no sense whatsoever, to the point where we were saying some pretty awful things, and we stopped the stream, accidentally we stopped the stream out of fear that we were going to be arrested or something. I can't remember. That was like,
I don't remember.
That was before episode 100. But yeah, I remember we had.
I think there have been multiple occasions where I've gotten to a point where I couldn't remember what I was saying, so I would just pause and well, I don't know where was I going? I just make something up, but
actually, my favorite episodes
about having a good time. If this is recreational time, this is not. We're not here as professionals. Get that.
Oh God,
now.
no! I mean,
that in your head now.
My favorite episodes were one of us at least one of us falls asleep.
What?
You know, because we're just like there have been. I know that I've been close. I don't know if I've actually fallen asleep because I have to like do the dirty shit. But there's been one episode where Locke was like leaning back and he was very comfortable, and he had been drinking like 3 beer before the show started, and then eventually Alan and I are talking. We realize that Locke is just
usually, in my defense, it's usually much later where I am than where they are. So,
oh, Julian has thrown down the gauntlet. Now, I know there's a couple people in the chat right now who have not. That might need context for that.
Compared to Julian, who really.
It could harm us all with just by taking his liver out and beating us with it, and then he would put it back and he would continue on.
I still remember when Julian introduced me to his apple cider moonshine, and then proceeded to do what I can only describe as a minor jig. It was.
Oh, a show called Radio Beer. Why do I not know about this? I told.
Radio beer, schmadio beer.
Beer. I like that. That's really good.
All we hear is Radio Beer. Yeah, no, you were saying, Locke, about that. Sorry, I interrupted. Or not?
No, you didn't.
Well, I was going to say, back in 2005, our show would be just like amazing. And hey, Julie, what are you drinking tonight? By the way, you haven't actually said, which is unusual. So tell us what you've been drinking tonight.
I bet she's having daiquiris.
He's having daiquiris on his back deck on Nelson Island, far from all civilization.
Probably wearing silky underwear too.
It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. Well, boys, we've almost made it to an hour. Any final words? Any new thoughts? I'm out of beer now, so you know.
I think we're all drifting in that direction. I think it has been a pleasure and a hell of a week. So there we go.
Excellent. Well, we will do it next Friday at around 7, 8 o'clock at night, Pacific Standard Time, so that Locke doesn't have to go to bed too late. Granted, it's a Friday. You might get to sleep in tomorrow. But we'll see you all next week. Don't forget to tell people about the show. All of the links, of course, are down in the thing. And we do this for fun. So if you want to come in and join us on the show, by all means. We've had people come on the show and shoot the shit with us. So the only rule is you have
for fun. We'd be okay if you send us bags of money.
Well, yeah, we would always accept money.
We're not against selling out here.
And I made you
Give us your money.
Nice.
Oh, there we go. March.
That would be cool. And good night, Julian. Not, of course, blah. Blah. Good night, everyone. See you all next week. And as always, drink good beer and stuff.
Rivers of Death.